What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reacting to the Marvel Spider-Man 2 review from IGN. All the reviews today just dropped at 10 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead, this is Eastern time. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Hey man.
Whoa, what's up with that suit?
With Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Insomniac has the unenviable task of following up two riveting superhero fantasies full of excitement and heart. While that may sound like a good problem to have, the question becomes...
Wait, Peter's teaching Miles?
Well, its answer is to
Hell.
double down. Double down on Spider-Man, double down on the size of the map.
This game
double
looks
down on
beautiful, though.
explosive action sequences. In doing so, the studio has crafted
Ooh, I love that
consistently
suit.
exciting roller coaster ride and the best story of the series yet. But stand the original alongside the sequel in other ways, and it can look a bit like two Spider-Man games pointing at each other. The excellent combat hasn't gotten old, but it is largely the same fun as before. And despite that larger map, most of the open world activities found within it are in desperate need of evolution. The result is a blockbuster in the most modern sense of the word, undeniably thrilling for long stretches, but by the numbers for others.
Okay, so you can't really tell if the guy reviewing it likes it or not.
Despite a couple of new tricks
Just
up
from
his
that.
sleeve, Spider-Man 2's combat is very familiar. It doesn't have that new suit smell anymore, but it still feels
So the
incredibly comfy to
combat
step
is,
into. The rhythm of precision dodges,
for the most part,
new
the same, I
perfect
guess.
parries, so you're not only swerving and striking now, and acrobatic finishes are hugely satisfying, as is chasing high hit combos to keep the fight
Ooh,
as
look at that.
stylish as possible. The movement is smooth and the hits are crunching, like some sort of peanut butter hybrid that every one of your foes is allergic to. Power and elegance are brought together in
Yeah,
a
it looks
ballet
pretty
as
much the
enemies are
same.
thrown around like dolls, juggled in the air, slammed across
With some
concrete
added,
floors, and slung into each other
abilities
like
and-
armored bowling pins.
But the base of it looks
never
pretty
killed.
similar.
Every bone in their body may be broken and every organ punctured, but
Right.
of course, they'll somehow live to commit crimes again. Overall, there's slightly less emphasis on stealth.
He doesn't kill people, but he fucks them up pretty good.
Spider-Man or Miles Morales. As someone who found the stealth action of the previous games a little simplistic and routine, this new, louder approach is welcome. Naturally, there are story missions where Miles or Peter have to slink across ceilings and take out thugs who never look up, but Spider-Man 2 is much more eager for you to get into the action, with many abilities designed to let you group up enemies and then deal big damage to all of them at once, rather
That's
than
good.
spreading them out to pit them off one by one.
Okay, so we're doing group damage
Once
this
Parker
game.
dons the symbiote suit already shown off in trailers, the
Whoa.
gooey, angry powers that come with it make a big
The
impact.
reflection,
Adding
the
more
light
of a
reflection
ruler
off that
nature to
suit was
fights, and
crazy.
giving Peter a set of tools to match Miles' satisfying electric abilities. One area the Insomniac has made improvements in is that Spider-Man 2 offers significant.
I wonder if you
more in
can
the way of
switch in and out of the suit
so you'll no
abilities
longer be
to like
battering the
regular
same
Spider-Man
balaclava
suit.
bullies with baseball bats. Certain enemies are weak to different types of abilities, such as electric or symbiotic attacks, which also adds an enjoyable extra wrinkle to fights. It's by no means revolutionary stuff, but a welcome added level of complexity that makes you consider which
Looks like
powers
the
or even which Spider-Man
HUD
are best
changes
for
as
the
well, depending
That's
on
not to say there aren't benefits to taking a sneaky
who you
route.
play as.
There are many perch takedown possibilities offered and new toys to play with too, such as the web line, which allows you to create your own high wires over your enemies to prey on them from above. It's a fun tool that allows you to reshape the tightly designed arenas into a battlefield more in your favour, and in doing so, redecorate the room with web-wrapped people pinatas. On the topic of covert ops, the playable MJ
Oh,
sequences
God.
from the original return, and while they are more involved this time around and serve the story well, they never add up to more than simple stealth missions or
They got
splashes of
MJ
basic
back.
third-person shooting.
MJ
She's certainly
missions
not
back. Oh
sidelined,
my
but
gosh.
it does feel like a little more could have been done to make her gameplay sections a bit more exciting. Combat aside, our Spider-Man can
Yeah, at
now
least
move
it seems
around
more
the friendly
entertaining.
neighborhoods in
She
more
can actually fight
stylish ways
back.
than ever. The new web wings are undoubtedly a standout. Like Batman before him, Spider-Man can now glide and soar with ease through the city, and web swinging is as gratifying as you remember.
This looks
and
so
still
good.
One of the best ways to get around any open world. The story swings just as elegantly between upbeat hijinks and solemn moments of reflection. It's undeniably a fun time to don the suit and enter a Kratos-like rage mode where you push in both thumbsticks and start one-hitting everything in
shit.
your path. But the writers never once forget to take their eyes off the
Norman
humanity
Osborn.
inside these superhumans.
Oh,
The
she's
same
back.
can be said for both its heroes and villains, as Spider-Man 2 tackles the reasoning behind each character's actions and
The upgrade in graphics makes the suits look even
Avoiding
better.
spoilers, the basic premise revolves around Kraven the Hunter, who is, well, craving a hunt. For those uninitiated in the character, he's essentially the Predator, an apex hunter blessed with super strength who has chosen New York as his next hunting ground.
The great hunt begins.
It's a great starting point that sends the city's hero and villain dynamic into flux as he sets his sights on the biggest prey possible. There are also smaller stories at play though, ones that may seem less important when compared to the citywide
I like that
chaos,
suit. That's
but
like
feel
a Prowler
potential
suit.
world enders to those who inhabit it. Both Spider-Men tackle the most extreme examples of trying to manage a work-life balance you could imagine, exploring a range of personal issues including strained relationships and loss that plague us as humans, no matter how superpowered we may feel.
I
It's the best
actually
written
like
story in the series
Peter's
yet, if
face
still
in
a
this
little
game,
cheesy at times,
because it
the
looks
performances
better.
were
Like
off the script.
his
It's a
head
real
seemed
triumph
bigger than
that
his
manages
neck
to
in
cover
the
such a wide
last
spectrum
game.
of themes without suffering from tonal whiplash.
You made it. I thought you said this was a startup.
Primarily a Peter Parker story, Spider-Man 2 explores his relationship with MJ and the reintroduction of childhood best friend Harry Osborn into his
Well,
life.
you get to ride
It's
bikes in
always
this game?
compelling to
Aw
watch
shit,
the
not again.
which Peter's
Or, aw shit, here we go again.
and what
That's San
future
Andreas
self he
type
wishes
shit.
to be. No matter how hectic a scenario gets though, he always has a quippy one-liner ready to be expertly delivered by actor Yuri Lowenthal.
I really should have stretched.
Miles still gets his time in the spotlight, however, and has some fantastic moments towards the end of the main campaign, even if some of the more interesting explorations of his Puerto Rican African-American culture are reserved for side missions. Obviously, what you take from the story and its diverse cast of characters will be unique to you.
Okay,
On
so-
the surface, it's another thrilling superhero story packed full of surprises, cameos, and Easter eggs. But
Bet.
there are deeper meanings to be found here too.
Mr. Morales, is it? Are you sure this isn't something you can handle yourself? I'm sure.
Spider-Man
Bruh, he
2
act like he
and
don't
to
know
an
him.
extent all great Spider-Man stories tackle themes of adolescence and puberty, a time of uncertainty for even the most normal of teenagers trying to control bodily fluids.
I gotta get better at fluid management.
We join Miles at this exact point in his life, with family ties straining, friendships facing new challenges, and life decisions of genuine importance.
This game looks so
being
much so
posed for
good.
the
They
first time.
definitely
Actor
improved it
Najee
from the
Cheezer
last one.
Displays all the range needed for the role, continuing to excel as a younger Spider-Man.
Can't wait for this
maturing
game.
before our eyes.
Maybe one of those scholarships has my name on it.
For Peter, these themes manifest in a much more physical sense. He's in his early 20s, so has already navigated the difficult years that Miles finds himself in. But thanks to the symbiote
yeah.
suit, he's working his way through yet more bodily changes. This physical manifestation is also representative of mental health issues that have developed.
I feel like this
Spider-Man.
review is
Venom
just a
hands
bunch
over
of-
the main
he's just
characters
spewing
like
a bunch of
center
bullshit.
grief, drenching them in black as if in a state of mourning. The story does a great job at gently exploring these issues and how, when not healthily addressed, personal demons can eat at us and lead to people we care about being unintentionally caught in the crossfire of the anger and pain those feelings can produce. Of course, a hero is nothing without its villains, and Spider-Man's rogues gallery is almost unparalleled. Outside of the likes of Venom, Kraven, and
Ew,
Lizard
why is his
seen in the
teeth like
trailers,
that?
Insomniac has kept many more hidden up its sleeve. I won't even hint at any of these except to say that Spider-Man 2 opens with a bang, offering up a sense of scale not previously seen in the series. It's an adrenaline-fueled reintroduction that tests how well you remember the combat, as well as providing a few new tricks. It's also the start of one of the new side story villain
The
threads that are
animation
optional,
looks
and while those don't
better.
offer anything overly new in terms of gameplay, they do add valuable extra scraps of story. Speaking of boss battles, that's one area that Spider-Man 2 takes a noticeable step up.
Hey, Doc. Ready for your annual physical?
There are evolving brawls packed full of danger that put all of your skills to the test. Dodges and parries are key, as well as using environmental tools dotted around the arenas for your benefit. The latter third of the campaign essentially
He's
becomes
got a health
boss
bar?
rush mode that will put the sturdiest of thumbs to the test. Not necessarily because it ever gets too difficult, but because of the sheer number of times you'll be hammering that square button. These later stages are where the majority of Spider-Man 2's thrills lay, however, as it really hits its stride later
Damn.
on and emphatically wraps up a tale with miles of emotional depth that never once threatens to peter out.
Your dad used to give me that.
Wow,
exact
he really
same
said that line.
Despite what loftier ambitions the roughly 18-hour story may have, this is still unapologetically an old-school approach to open-world game design, and nowhere is this displayed more clearly than in its optional quests. To their credit, the way you can highlight side objectives by pressing the right stick is a welcome upgrade over mere icons on a map. This isn't a world that beckons exploration or discovery necessarily, but it is a step in the right direction toward creating greater immersion and mercifully less time spent looking at the map screen. That being said, I can't help but have hoped for a few more flashes of Gotham City to make their way into New York. Something like the spontaneous shock of Man-Bat jumping at you out of nowhere went a long way to making Rocksteady's superhero open world feel more reactive than what we get here. When you consider the evolution of open world game design that the Arkham series took over the course of the trilogy, it's a bit disappointing to see Insomniac series stuck in time when it comes to its side content and the way it presents itself to you. Standard open world filler activities are here aplenty, and that's one area where Spider-Man 2 hasn't moved with the times or shown much ambition at all. Collectibles, photo opportunities, and rather basic street crimes are still here, and despite having a few slightly more interesting quirks this time around, they only very occasionally excite. Granted, the additional enemy variety in play makes these activities take a little longer to get old than they did in the past, but this still isn't quite a strong enough twist to make prioritizing photographing these jabronis over saving a house full of people from a raging fire not seem ridiculous.
Well, guys, can we take this outside?
Oh, it's an amazing Spider-Man suit.
There are exceptions to the rule, however. There are a couple of more involved questlines that are much more nourishing, almost to the point of being a series of mini main plot missions. My favourite was the Flame questline, which begins with simply helping out the fire brigade, but quickly spins a layered and mysterious web. It's full of twists, turns and surprises, like a great short comic book run that separates itself from the rest of Spider-Man 2's optional
Well, that's
time
nice. It's got a
trials
little
and
bit of
simple
side
puzzle
stories.
minigames. All of this contributes to fighting back against crime in each district of New York, a city now twice the size of what we've seen before. There are 14 unique districts, each with its own set of objectives to complete before you can unlock fast travel to that part of the map. Not making fast travel readily available is smart, and truthfully, I barely used it anyway, as swinging and gliding around the city is so
That suit kind of looks like a
Gliding
Black
is
Panther
especially
suit.
great for crossing long distances thanks to the numerous wind tunnels that carve their way through New York's seamlessly endless grid of streets, flanked by Art Deco architecture and modern mirror-like skyscrapers. Of course,
Can't wait for the
catching a reflection in that glass so often,
montages of people swinging and using the wingsuit together.
Fear not, there are dozens and dozens of suits to unlock, with myriad colourful skins to pick from on each of them. From modern interpretations of classics
that's
to
cool.
returning fan favourites, there are treats waiting for Spider-Man fans of all generations. In keeping with Insomniac's track record, the music behind it all is stellar, with Miles and Peter's respective signature tunes playing depending on who you're controlling.
Nice.
A highlight though is the theme that follows in Kraven's footsteps, which bears more than a passing resemblance to Howard Shore's Uruk-hai War March from the Lord of the Rings score. It soundtracks a world that looks stunning, even when played in performance mode at a very stable 60 FPS, as I did for almost all of my playthrough. In fact, Spider-Man 2 is a technical marvel as a whole. I can't say I noticed one drop frame in my dozens of hours of playing. This allows Spider-Man 2 to shine in its most jaw-dropping moments, of which the story offers many, as explosive action, sparkling electrical effects, and fittingly slimy symbiote gloop fill
This
the
game's
screen.
gonna be so good. I can't wait to play it.
What do you think?
It looks so good.
As a sequel in a spectacular
What are they gonna rate it,
series,
though?
Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is both blessed and cursed. Its story of two Spider-Men is a great time and a Spidey fan's dream to play through as comic book pages are brought to life, elegantly walking the tightrope between light humour and heavier themes. Meanwhile, Insomniac refines a successful formula of combat and web swinging without revolutionising either in major ways, making them comfy and familiar with just enough new tweaks and abilities to elevate them to fun new heights.
Damn, that dude is
The part that
definitely
feels like it
dead.
actually needed a radical rethinking is the open world of New York City, which has been made bigger but not better, with an exhausting checklist of mostly repetitive side activities. But it's safe to call this another thrilling Spider-Man adventure that delivers Insomniac's best tale yet, and despite its open world falling short, it is a reliably fun superhero power trip. And you know what? Screw it. It really did make me feel like Spider-Man.
An 8. Wow.
For more open world
I
game
did not
reviews,
expect
why not
that.
check out our review of Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty or Assassin's Creed Mirage.
They gave it
And
an
for
8 out
everything
of
else
10.
Spider-Man
They
2.
gave it an 8 out of 10, but I'm curious to see what other reviewers are going to review it as. I don't know if 8 out of 10 is justified or not, but after I get done watching a couple other reviews, I guess I'll kind of gauge where everybody is on it. Either way, it looks like a phenomenal game, and I'm still going to play it. But let me know what you guys think down below about that 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for liking this video and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.